Hello, everyone, and as a kind reminder, tonight's event is being recorded. The recording will be available for playback on the NBC Palm Springs digital network through the election. Audience video will be turned off and audio muted during this event to help protect the integrity of the digital stream. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. As a service to our community, the Indio Chamber of Commerce, in partnership with the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce, is proud to host tonight's Indio City Council Candidate Forum. My name is Brandon Marley. I am the Director of Communication for the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce and will be the MC for tonight. The candidate speaking order for tonight's event was determined by alphabetical order of last name, as all our candidate forums will be done this year. We have allotted each candidate 3 minutes to make an opening remark. Candidates, when it is your turn, please state your name followed by your 3-minute introductory statement. We have Diana Soto with signs showing how much time is left. Please respect the time limits. In addition to the time restrictions, we have kindly asked the candidates to refrain from disparaging or engaging with fellow candidates. A reminder, this is a forum and not a debate. Please limit your discussions to your individual plans and perspectives on the city of Indio. Let's begin with our first candidate. Again, you have 3 minutes. We would like to welcome Councilmember Lupe Ramos Amit from District 5. The floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Lupe Ramos Amit, and it is my honor to have served the people of Indio for the past 16 years as council member and 4-time mayor. As a lifelong resident, I am fortunate to call Indio my hometown. I attended Our Lady of Perpetual Help Catholic School and Indio High School, and am a graduate of College of the Desert and University California, Riverside. I currently work as a small business consultant for the Coachella Valley Small Business Development Center, guiding new and established businesses. I serve on the Riverside County Date Festival and the Indio Women's Club. Previously, I owned and operated a civil engineering, a real estate investment and development company, a restaurant and microbrewery, all here in Indio. You can say that I am one driven businesswoman. I've had the privilege of being a part of Indio's growth, both through my businesses and during my tenure as a council member, together with my colleagues. I have worked to make our city a better place, and I think I've done a pretty good job. Just consider some of the great things we've seen. We've brought more jobs to the Indio by encouraging responsible development, including residential, retail, and commercial. We've worked on important street improvements to reduce traffic and relieve congestion on our roads, like the Jefferson Street interchange. We've enhanced and expanded our park system and built a teen center and senior center. We've created an educational environment where our children can go from kindergarten to receiving a college degree or even become an attorney, all within our city boundary. We've expanded and grown our public safety department so that first responders can save lives and properties in times of emergency. And while we've been able to provide our residents with more services, we've done it all while maintaining a balanced budget and building our reserves. The fact is that we have a healthy budget reserve and don't have to cut services during this global pandemic. Why is that? Simple, because we have led the charge to bring fiscal responsibility to our city government. I'm proud to be born and raised in Indio. My family businesses are here. My family was raised here. I want to make our city the best it can be for generations to come. Indio truly is the hub of the Coachella Valley, the center of commerce, and I am proud to be a part of its bright future. Together, we can make Indio an even better place. I look forward to making sure our city is a safe place for us to live, work, and raise our families. I've been proud to work for the people of Indio, and I'd be honored to have your continued support in the upcoming election. Thank you for this opportunity to come here tonight and to share with you all the things that Indio has going. I look forward to discussing how we became such a well-run city and what we're going to do to make it even better in the future. Thank you all for this moment tonight.
Thank you very much. And we will now move on to Mayor Glenn Miller.
Thank all of you. It's a pleasure to be here with all the candidates. I want to thank all of you for putting yourself out there to run. And I want to thank the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce and the Indio Chamber of Commerce for hosting this. I'm Glenn Miller. I'm your current mayor here of the city of Indio, and I came in 35 years ago to build the golf resort at Indian Wells for the city of Indian Wells and instantly fell in love with the city of Indio. And I've called it my home ever since. I've raised my 3 children here. All of them went to Indio schools and graduated from Indio High School. I started my business here and it is still in Indio. And I am what they call a person that loves their community. And that's one of the reasons I started to run for city council and became a city council member, was the idea that we needed to put Indio first. I know what it's like to sign the front of a check, and I know what it's like to sign the back of a check. So I understand what businesses are going through right now during COVID-19, but the city of Indio is strong. We have a healthy reserve. When I first got on the city council, we had no reserves. Today, we have a healthy reserve. We have property in place. We have a great staff with the city manager and guiding us through everything we need to do. And I can't think of a better opportunity for all of you out there than to invest in the city of Indio. The things that we've done over the last few years: interchange, infrastructure. We've worked on education with the College of the Desert, the Desert Trial Academy Law School, and we've had all of our high schools rebuilt. So when I'm talking about Indio, I'm talking about all of us getting together to continue to grow Indio. And I think the city of Indio is in a fine place right now to be able to continue to grow. One of the things that we've been doing lately is handling all our stuff in-house. Our city is as busy today as we have been anytime. If you look at the businesses that are out and about, we have the brand new Vallarta supermarket going in. We have Chipotle's. We have 2 auto dealerships coming in. The city of Indio is prime for continuing to grow. And I've been a part of it for the last 12 years with my colleagues. Our city council has done an outstanding job continuing to work forward. Our staff has worked diligently. And we have one of the top police departments that has continued to keep us safe and move our city forward. I look forward to working with you for the next 12 years, and not only a capacity as your city councilman, but also as a regional leader. What I bring to the table is leadership and consensus building. And I think that's what we need right now to continue to grow the city of Indio into what it really needs to be. And that's the continued gem of the desert. There's so much opportunity, and people are coming into this city because of our solid leadership and what we bring to the table. I respectfully ask for your vote, and I look forward to debating the rest of the candidates for the rest of the day.
Thank you. And we will now move on to candidate Eric Lemus Nadril.
Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Greater Coachella Valley Commerce and Chamber of Commerce of Indio. This event is very important for our residents and for our business community, especially during this time. My name is Eric Lemus Nadril. I am a community organizer that is running as a nonpartisan candidate for the City of Indio Council, District 5. I am a leader with a proven track record here within the city. I went to College of the Desert, and I also went to Cal State University San Bernardino, both Palm Desert and San Bernardino campus. I am a young professional whose availability is to the diversity of the city. I've been an advocate for multi-issue improvements that impact Indio without partisan interest, like housing, health access, and public safety. I've worked on campaigns that provide health services to Indio families, created housing solutions that expand traditional housing, and worked to expand local, county, city, and state budgets to combat poverty in a region like ours, so that we can put money into the people's pockets so that they can invest in businesses like yours. I'm a millennial, and I come with a lot of background and business experiences here in the city of Indio. I worked with staging contract logistics during our Fizzy Indio Festival season, productions like Synergy Music Festival, Comic-Con Palm Springs, Coachella, Stagecoach, and Electric Daisy Carnival, and also working with production companies here that are from Indio. And really, my top 3 issues are simple. It's health, it's access to government, and it's strategizing to rethink business. Health, why? Because a healthy city is a productive city. We need to ensure that our labor force is taken care of and to carry the economic prosperity into the future. Access to government, right? Increased civic participation will empower the future of business leaders here in the city of Indio and also create better jobs and opportunities for the future. And also rethinking business. In order to sustain a reopening to the city of business, we must work collectively together to create creative solutions. I want to represent you coming here in the Indio City Council for District 5 on November 3rd, and I need your vote. We're striving for a change in the city of Indio because we want input from everyone in the community, not just one side or one person or one entity. Every opinion matters. I really do feel that. Everyone deserves to be heard respectfully. And also, just in case anybody wants to follow up, these questions are lengthy and they do require a bit of a lengthier explanation. So you feel free to visit my website or catch me on social media at Eric for Indio. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will now open it to candidate Frank Ruiz.
Thank you all. Thank you for having me. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Frank Ruiz. I have spent most of my professional career as a public servant, either as a hospital, police chaplain, or clergy of many and diverse churches. In addition, I have been a social, environmental activist and community organizer. Currently, I serve as the director for the Southern Sea Program for Outbound California, fighting to protect the health of more than 650,000 people that will be negatively affected by this crisis. I decided to run for Indio City Council because I believe that I can represent the views and voices of diverse sectors of this community. My experience working and collaborating with different levels of government has provided me with the skills to engage multiple entities to find feasible solutions for the local problems. I believe the residents of this community would love to elect someone who will truly focus on the real problems India is currently facing. I am not a career politician. I am a community leader that would love to see real changes happening in this community. I decided to raise my family here in Indio because I believe Indio can offer its families a prosperous future, and I want to make sure that the businesses that we attract will align with those principles. I have a genuine passion for this community, and it is reflected in the hundreds of hours that I have served as a volunteer chaplain for Indio Police Department. I believe it is time to elect someone who brings family values to the council and real commitment to this community. Our families deserve to have a healthy environment. Our businesses deserve to thrive in this community. And we need to make sure that every member of this community have the opportunity to excel in this city. Thank you for the opportunity to join in and share my vision and perspectives for the city of Indio. You can visit me at Elect Frank Ruiz, and you can read my biography. You can read many of the other issues that I will be more than happy to share at length.
Thank you. We would like to welcome Aaron Turan. The floor is yours.
My name is Erin Turan, and I'm running for Indio City Council District 1. As a registered nurse and previously a paralegal, I have the knowledge, experience, and skills that position me as the best candidate for Indio during this pandemic, and as we move forward to create a safe, prosperous future for the residents of Indio. I'm running for City Council because I'm homegrown and I'm a proud Raja, and I have a real passion for our city. I went to Indio schools from kindergarten through 12th grade, and my heart is in this community. After graduating from high school, I learned the trade of paralegal. I specialized in business, real estate, CEQA, and construction law. At the age of 20, I lost my significant other in a car accident when my daughter was just an infant. And years down the line, I lost my stepmother to cancer. After so much loss I had experienced, I decided to go back to school to become a nurse. I waited tables and often worked 2 and 3 jobs while attending school full time. I earned scholarships from the Girlfriend Factor and also from the Indio Women's Club, organizations that empowered and shaped me to be the woman that I am today. I have a daughter that is in college at UCR, and I've worked hard to help her navigate during these difficult times, such as with issues with distance learning. I raised my daughter as a single mother, and I know what it's like to struggle. I've been through hardships, but I have tenacity and willpower. It was my struggle that taught me how to become a problem solver. It taught me compassion for others, and it gave me a hard work ethic. If you can get through nursing school while working and raising a family, you can do anything. I now work as an RN in our community at one of our local hospitals. I've spent my free time advocating for nurses as a union nurse rep. I fought alongside some of my colleagues on the picket lines for safer working conditions and PPE for our healthcare workers. I've held patients' hands while they are dying, and I've comforted family members at the most difficult moments in their life. As a nurse, I strongly advocate for my patients, regardless of who I'm up against, and I'm not afraid to speak up. I will use these skills to continue to improve Indio. I'll work hard to get things done and work on behalf of the residents of Indio. I currently serve as a commissioner for the Citizens Finance Commission, and my most recent endeavor was to form the group We Are Indio in an effort to bring our community together. We recognize that some of us, moving forward, that some of us have been left behind. We recognize that there has been a lot of change. However, we can see that in some areas we played in as children, such as Miles Park, or where our friends grew up, like in Nairobi, where some of the streets are still unpaved. Our group's most recent endeavor was to organize a vigil to give Black leaders a forum to speak in honor of Black lives lost to police brutality and to identify solutions to eradicate systematic racism and discrimination in our communities. This vigil gave me the opportunity to work with lifelong friends like Councilmember Wayman Furman and with other friends that grew up here and want better for our community. If elected, I will ensure we invest in effective and sustainable programs to improve the quality of life of our residents while maintaining a balanced city budget, strengthening the relationship and mutual trust between our public safety officers and the community. Work with state and federal leaders to secure more resources for housing affordability, recreation, infrastructure, and responsible community development projects.
Aaron, please wrap up. We're quite a bit over.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the questions portion. Please keep in mind, candidates, because of the time, we want to make sure we get to everything. We had a few run over. We will probably have to cut off a little tighter going forward. We do appreciate your opening remarks, though, and we would now like to move into the Q&A portion of tonight's event. All of the questions posed at this forum were supplied by the Indio Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors in consultation with the Chamber's Business Legislative Advocacy Committee. The questions were given to all the candidates in advance. We do this purposefully, as our intent is not to perform a knowledge test, but rather to try to determine how each candidate would govern should they be elected. We feel this is best accomplished by allowing them to state exactly where they stand on the issues. The speaking order will be progressive, meaning if you answered last to a question, you will answer first to the next question. You have 2 minutes to address each question. For our first question of the night, let's get right into COVID. This has obviously caused a disruption in tax revenue for all local governments. If the current emergency measures that have local businesses shuttered continues into next year, we could start to see very serious budget disruption at all levels of government. Tell us about some of the steps you would be prepared to take to protect Indio's essential government services. What kind of governance should residents expect from you if faced with budget shortfalls? Candidate Turan, you were last to speak during introductions. You will be the first to answer this question.
Your 2 minutes begins now. She's muted.
Okay, you ready?
Go ahead.
So So we know that Indio is not alone in regards to budget disruptions. There are over 2,100 cities nationwide that are facing the same issues. It's absolutely necessary for local leaders to take a strong stance in advocating for additional funding from state and federal agencies in order to meet our local needs for the upcoming year. Indio has lots of diversity. We have the largest workforce, and we have the highest number of essential workers. Therefore, our chances for COVID are higher. And we need to continue to work on measures to mitigate the spread. Yesterday, we saw our county move up to the next tier. And the very first thing that city leaders should do is to continue to focus on preventing the spread of virus so we can continue to safely reopen and, most importantly, stay open. As a nurse, I can tell you, we have not done nearly enough, quickly enough. It took Indio 2 weeks to issue a city ordinance to enforce masks. In a pandemic, 2 weeks is a lifetime, and what is worrisome is we still had council members that opposed it. There's no room to make this a political issue. This is a health and wellness issue, and our residents deserve better. I will promote strong enforcement of masks, social distancing, and decreased capacity of individuals within business. Utilize community service committee to work with local businesses, to meet with businesses, to resolve issues businesses are faced with in terms of enforcement. Continue providing PPE, but organize healthcare volunteers to train businesses in proper donning and doffing procedures. It's impossible to predict the future, but we can plan now to work with organizers to provide safer measures in order to help festivals return safely. Yes, we've had some issues related to this pandemic, but we're Indio. We're resilient, and with strong leadership, we're going to overcome this pandemic safely and stronger than ever.
Thank you. We'll move on to Councilmember Lupe Ramos-Tamit.
Okay, thank you very much, Brendan. Being a current council member, that does give me a sort of an advantage over on this answer. The budget disruption, I think we've planned well. We've grown our reserves so that we are able to manage over the next couple of years. We learned our lesson after the 2008 economic downturn that we must have healthy reserves in order to float the city without cutting services to our residents and continuing the best receipt of benefits that we can to everyone in the community. So we have healthy reserves to move forward. I don't suspect that there'll be a disruption at the budget level. We are moving some of our reserve funds into the general fund budget in order to maintain the level of service that we have continued to grow accustomed to. Residents can continue to see that type of governance from me. I will be leading the charge for responsible spending, thoughtful policies, and make sure that we always have a balanced budget. If we do have budget shortfalls, we will have to take a look at some of our community services to see where we can tighten our belt, but we will never give up public safety, our #1 priority, making sure that our residents have the basic needs that they need as far as infrastructure, water delivery service, and the amenities that they've grown to love in our community, the city of Indio. Thank you very much for this opportunity to answer the question.
Thank you. And we'll move on to Mayor Miller.
Thank you. COVID-19 threw us all for a loop, but that's one of the things that I ran on 12 years ago, was to make sure that we would have a healthy reserves to weather any storm like COVID-19, which we didn't see coming. The city of Indio has a healthy reserve. We also have Measure X money that we can utilize if we need to make sure we shore up our budget and make sure that we provide the economic and opportunity of services to all our residents. Public safety is our #1 concern right now, is to make sure that we have a safe and prosperous city, and you can't do that without public safety. But our city is as busy as ever, especially in public works and also in building and safety, where we have more projects now, including housing, developments, restaurants, hotels, and other businesses coming in. So our staff is working harder and longer than they ever have. We need to continue to support them. We will do that by making sure we make efficient cuts and savings where we need to, but our quality of service will continue to stay the same, because when Indio comes out of this COVID-19, which is hopefully very, very shortly, and we get our businesses open and running, we'll continue to be able to hit the ground running, and we will be able to continue to bring money into the coffers. We have 2 new auto dealerships coming in. We have 2 new hotels that have opened up, and many other businesses which are continuing to put general fund dollars into our coffers, and then also limit the amount of reserves that we're taking out. So Indio is primed to continue to move forward. I will be governing by listening to our residents, listening to our staff, and making sure we provide the quality of service that our residents expect. And that is something we'll be doing here very shortly, is getting back to our residents in our next meeting in October and hearing where we are dollar-wise, and at the same time listen to our residents of what's important to them to continue to support their needs. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll move on to candidate Nadaril.
Hi, sorry, I'm having connection problems. This was the question number 1, right, about COVID?
Yes, this was.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so definitely COVID really impacted us, impacted the city. Unfortunately, a reopening of the here in the city of Indio, one of the cities with the highest rates of COVID, really jeopardized the future of our health and our economy. As you know, as a city, how are we going to attract new commerce and sustain new businesses when the safety of our residents disregarded when we did an early reopening? Unfortunately, the majority was to allow this opening, right? It's not just the city, but it was essentially the county as well. And we now know the repercussions of the decisions that were made. And so moving forward, health must be a priority in 2020 and beyond. I reviewed the city budget with a supplemental CARES funding that was allocated in terms of health and human services. In the city, we do not use CARES funding to support our Indio residents where essential services like rental assistance for commercial and residential tenants. I advocated for rental assistance for commercial and residential tenants because it would have supported our local economy by keeping our labor force healthy. If these services were in place, they would have helped local workers be less exposed to COVID, and we would have had a healthy workforce ready to provide right now. So what are we going to do to make money for the city, right? I would do my best to ensure that all residents have the resources they need to stay healthy and keep working, whether it be as an employer or as a business. That will keep rent and mortgages paid, prevent defaults, and ensure that people have money in their pockets to spend. I will also be a strong advocate for encouraging local spending and local business development and make our residents realize how much of an impact local spending has on our services. I would love to keep a strong relationship with local businesses and this chamber and other entities such as CVIT, CVAG, and SCAG to stay up to date with the necessary business info. We also have to be very creative, but most importantly, innovative, while maintaining our commitment to safety and the community's health. In case of budget shortfalls, we need to look at what makes sense financially for our residents. For example, we should stop fixing streets because some of them gets expensive over time.
Candidate, we're past time.
Thank
We're going to have to move on to the next question.
Thank you.
And last, we have candidate Ruiz. Candidate, you're muted. You're going to have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. If anything, COVID-19 taught us a lesson to learn, and that is how to be proactive rather than reactive, and learn how to plan accordingly. My number one priority, if faced with budget shortfalls, is one, to evaluate the status of our city budget that will provide current and long-term budget projections. This will offer critical information to the City Council. This evaluation should include assessment of essential needs of services of pending city projects, capital improvement, city services, city staffing levels, business and residential needs. In order to help our community and prevent the impacts we have experienced during the last recession, this assessment process will be necessary to prioritize and approve a city financial plan of the residents and businesses, as much as to assess the financial future based on any financial challenges that may arise at the federal, state, and local government. I want to remind everyone that it is important to be dialectic. It is important to see the both sides, and we have to, and the City Council will need to have the input from the Financial Commission, business, and residents in order to assess the situation comprehensively.
Thank you. Our next question. There has been much consideration given to what Indio's commercial districts will look like in the coming years as the public's shopping and transportation patterns continue to evolve. What do you think commercial areas like downtown Indio and the Highway 111 corridor need to do to prepare for the future? How can the city play a role in helping those areas stay competitive and relevant? Candidate Ruiz, you were last to speak during the previous question. You will be the first to answer this question.
Thank you very much. Studies have shown that communities that have a vibrant downtown areas are communities that attract solid and sustainable businesses. The commercial areas such as the downtown and Highway 111 have much potential and many opportunities may become available for small and big businesses that will find downtown Indio and 111 corridor very attractive. Both of those areas are open spaces for economic growth to benefit big and small businesses. With Indio being the largest city having a diverse population of almost 100,000 and increased to a higher number during the season, we need to be aggressive with our approved businesses plans for the downtown and update plans for the 111 corridor. In my conversation with Carl Morgan, Director of Economic Development in Indio, he highlighted something that I wasn't really aware of, that the need of reviewing the zoning to attract good and sustainable businesses. We need family-oriented businesses and tourism. Those are the two types of businesses that we need to develop at both areas. Our businesses need to provide the services our communities need and create a unique quality to attract tourism to both of these areas. Our festivals and concerts are not a year-round that we can depend on. Therefore, we need to diversify all the year-round businesses. We need to partner up with our chamber and seek input by and our long and short-term successful established businesses in order for us to continue moving forward economically.
Thank you. And we will move to candidate Turan.
We can stay competitive by more outreach to local Indio residents to keep business at home and to supply businesses that our locals would like to frequent. It's important to be connected with the community to understand how we best prepare for the future. Today I turned 40, and I can tell you over my years here, we have seen many changes, but there's still many places that look exactly the same and have really been left behind. For instance, in the John Noble's Ranch area, a decree was signed nearly 30 years ago for eminent domain by the city in order to move forward with expansion near the mall. We have residents and churches that have lived there for years that had to relocate, and we still have yet to see new development. We need to advocate and provide affordable housing to current residents in order to continue to grow our large workforce and meet the needs of our growing city. We need to meet the city's needs in regards to the digital divide and think outside of the box on how we look at this new way of doing business post-COVID. It's going to affect our economy, and take a hard look at how this may impact our future plans. Retail is not doing well. People have moved online to shop, and we need to find ways to prepare for that as we develop downtown. Smart planning will be crucial. We need to attract businesses that will create higher revenue opportunities. We have a new children's hospital, county buildings, county jail, and need to create opportunities for the people frequenting those businesses to spend their money here. We need to find ways to keep attracting people to spend money in Indio.
Thank you. We will move to Council Member Lube Ramos Amit.
Thank you. Several years ago, we conducted an economic survey of our residents to ask them where they prefer to do their shopping and what types of businesses they'd like to see in the city of Indio. What we discovered during that survey is that over 50% of the expendable income in the city of Indio is being spent in outside cities. Why is that? It's because we didn't have at that time the businesses that our residents desired. Since that time, we've been able to bring forward commercial projects such as the Monroe I-10 intersection commercial project, the Jackson Street I-10 intersection project, and the downtown project is currently under a mutual memorandum of understanding with a private developer who's going to bring in an experience and lifestyle center to the downtown. We have a competitive advantage because the city of Indio owns over 50% of the downtown. So we're able to work with this private developer to make sure that he brings into the downtown district the types of services that our residents said they wanted. As far as the Highway 111 corridor, we're also working currently with Mr. Alex Hagan, who just last year or 2 years ago purchased the mall project. We own the 20 acres behind that, and we've been working with him on the types of businesses that will be coming in. There will be housing options, hotel options, restaurant options, entertainment options, restaurant courts, and all types of family fun. So we've already gone out and number one, asked the residents what they wanted. Number two, delivered on what they wanted. And number three, working with developers to continue to bring the businesses that our residents desire into the city of Indio.
Thank you. We will move to Mayor Miller.
Thank you. The city of Indio ventured out on both the Highway 111 corridor and also the Indio Old Specific by designing the 2040 general plan update and also the Indio downtown specific plan, which gave us an advantage of what we were looking for in the city of Indio in those two locations. One of the things that, as Lupe mentioned, is we assembled a lot of property to be able to control development and be able to partner with partnerships through people that wanted to develop not only the downtown area, but also the Highway 111 corridor. Right now, we're currently in evaluations of what we can do downtown. We have an apartment complex coming in with mixed use development. We have over 100,000 square feet of College of the Desert, new campus being built in the start of 2021. And then at the same time, we're in negotiations and looking at what we can do with the 20 acres behind the mall site to work with the Alex Hagan Corporation to be able to look at what we can do to revamp and upgrade the mall. We have a lot of exciting things coming on in the city of Indio. This has been going on for planning for councils for the last few years. And right now we're able to capture a lot of this new energy coming into the city of Indio. So we've already asked our residents what they're looking at. We've dedicated time, effort, and money into it. And at the current rate we're going, we're hoping to see some great opportunities and buildings going up here in the next couple of years.
Thank you. And we will move to candidate Nadaril.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, awesome. Well, the way we design commercial districts will impact how people interact in those spaces. We need to think about different modes of transportations. We need to think about what makes people stay in the area and enjoy the shopping there. But overall, the experience of that commercial district. Is there enough picnic tables or green areas? Is there bike lanes? Is there entertainment in the evenings? Is there enough parking space? Is there a culture that adequately represents the amenities accessible to all? We need to be ready to propel our residents into business ownerships so that they can bring innovation to our local families and commercial districts. As council, we can only do so much. We need to empower our local community to be business owners, to be innovative, and to be collaborative with each other, to bring bigger and better solutions for the shopping centers. We're thinking business in downtown is going to be very crucial and essential. And we need to think about how we cater to college students, healthcare professionals, and the Indio lifestyle. So inclusive and diversity is key. Specifically here in my district, the production labor force needs to be ready. The production labor force needs leaders and policymakers to continue to create live events. Live events are the neighborhood-friendly live events that will directly contribute to the local economy and to the common interests of the people. Hashtag Red Alert, hashtag We Make Events. Live events in the city will bring us to be innovative and will allow us to be champions, and it can be done. Modifications with live events and also in our small businesses can propel health and modifications. And with your help and with the city culture, we can help to elevate that community diversity workforce. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question. City councils sometimes find themselves involved in community disagreement over proposed commercial development. Even if a development is proper for the zoning, local residents may turn to object to certain types of development in or near their neighborhoods. Tell us your approach to these types of situations. Candidate Nadarro? I think you're still muted.
Okay, awesome. First of all, we need to improve our initial communication with our residents. We need to make sure that we are giving notices in a timely manner, both in English and Spanish, to make sure that everyone has accurate information. A lot of these issues come about because of miscommunication. As a council member, I would increase outreach not only through the city, but through my own work in making sure that our residents are able to stay up to date with city decisions and receiving the right information so they can provide their best input and decisions. As leaders, we also need to be the best listeners. Recently, we have over 50 emails sent out to City Council that were not read on record and not provided ahead of time to council members during the budget talks. This decreases the credibility and decreases the likelihood of residents putting their feedback in these decisions. All our residents deserve to be heard, and we need to be accountable to the growth that they're liking as much as reasonable as possible. So this is really an issue about access to government. I've been actually talking to District 5 residents about the new mental health clinic, and some of them feel a little bit disenfranchised because they felt like their voices weren't included during the decision-making process. Unfortunately, they needed to be informed to enter their decision-making process at an early time. Some of these decisions have a longevity in the decision-making process. So we need to get folks involved in the early inception of this decision-making. Raising awareness will help people get involved. And for example, we're gonna have a housing element. This housing element is almost a 8-year-long planning document. We need to get people involved in year 1 as opposed to doing outreach to get people involved in year 8. And so as a council member, I definitely want to change the way access to government is being made here in Indio. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Ruiz?
Thank you. We have a general specific plan that gives us guidance. And we have an appointed planning commission. We have a good relationship with our business community in a partnership with our Chamber of Commerce. But we have to continue improving the way we communicate with our residents by creating easy access to decision-making opportunities. Perhaps creating focus groups approaches that will allow residents, community members to be able to have a quick and easy communication with the leaders they have elected. Even with these steps, projects reach the council to make the final decisions. So therefore, it is important to respect the process as much as it is important to respect the input of the community. It has to be a dual effort. We as council, it's important that we reach a decision that will benefit our small and big businesses and overall protect the quality of life of the residents in Indio.
Thank you. Candidate Turan?
So this question speaks to transparency. Transparency starts at the conception of development. We need to do a better job of outreach to our community to really understand the wants and needs of our residents so we don't get to a point late in the project where there's a disagreement. This really takes listening. We have to really listen to what our residents want from the city. By making sure the public is engaged and aware of a project at its start, we can avoid conflict. But oftentimes we wait until plans are made to include the residents and then we create chaos. We want to work with developers. That's true, but it's contingent upon the city to communicate with the developers what Indio residents see as their vision.
Thank you. Councilmember Lupe Ramos Amit.
Hi, we recently passed the General Plan 2040, which for 5 years, the City of Indio engaged in community outreach, both in English and in Spanish in all districts. We had listening sessions, we met with the chamber, we met with the building industry to make sure that everybody's voice was understood. We even asked the individual property owners what their specific desires were. So there was plenty of opportunity for individuals to be a part of the original process. But you know what? That wasn't the last opportunity to speak up. There are still plenty of other opportunities to speak up on development as it moves forward. There's the opportunity at the Planning Commission and at the City Council. My approach, whenever there's individuals that are in disagreement over proposed commercial development that is even in compliance with the zoning or with the general plan, is to ask the developer to have his own listening sessions. And we've been successful in that respect. The developer has put out 2 or 3 notices to local community residents to make sure that they understand what's being proposed, and they've been able to come to the table to share their concerns with the developer. And in most cases, a happy medium is found. We can't always please everyone all of the time, but there is plenty of listening sessions from the beginning of a process till the end of the final decision, and the council always listens to everyone. One individual may not feel that they have been part of the process because they haven't been there for the whole 5, 8, or 10 years. But believe me, we take into account everyone's voice when we make a decision.
Thank you. And Mayor Miller.
Thank you. One of the processes that we put in place a long time ago was to make sure that everyone could be heard. We put all our information online. They're able to get permits online now, and we followed the guidelines of our new 2040 general plan. We're blessed to have a great staff and a great city manager that continues when they're bringing projects forward to make sure that everybody's informed of not only when the projects are coming forward, what projects are coming forward, and how they can get that input out to the community and their residents. Our planning commission has done an excellent job of continuing to look at the plans, make sure that if there's any insight or any issues that are being held up because of what has been presented, we go back to our developer, we go back to our team, we go back to the community and ask them their input to find a happy medium to make sure that not only is it a win-win situation for the developers and the businesses that are coming in, but also at the same time, we continue to have the quality of life our residents expect. So it's the input of everyone that kind of gives us the guidance. And when it comes to city council, we have staff reports, we've listened to the input of not only the residents, but also of the developer, and we can usually find a happy medium where the city can move forward. If the council has to make a decision, we're going to decide on what is best in the best interest of our city as a whole. How does this project affect the residents? How does it affect the quality of life? And what does it bring to the table in terms of tax dollars? What does it bring in terms of jobs? And then what does it do to bring in opportunities for the community? One business can make a difference on whatever comes in, and at the same time can bring in more businesses and more opportunities. So we listen to all our residents, we listen to the developers, but it's really guided by the 2040 plan, general plan, and at the same time, our staff, which is top notch, bringing those ideas and thoughts to us. And so we like the opportunity to have everybody speak. And at the same time, we want to make sure we're bringing in quality projects, which we have. You can look at that by the new developments that we have throughout the city. They're coming into our city because there's good, steady leadership. And at the same time, they know we're working with the community. The community doesn't want to go to an opportunity to a place that they don't feel comfortable with. Our businesses are making sure the residents are getting what they need.
Thank you, Mayor. We will now move to the next question. We have increasingly seen city councils across the nation insert themselves into the national conversation around social justice, whether it is community policing, affordable housing, or addressing the homeless population. As a community, how is Indio faring when it comes to equitably supporting the needs of residents? Mayor Miller?
Thank you. One of the things that we've done is we've continued to listen to our residents. This is a very difficult subject because when you're talking national politics, it's very difficult to bring it all into the fold. The city of Indio is very blessed to have a great police department. We were recognized as one of only 15 departments in the United States by President Obama to make sure that our police department was following the guidelines. They felt that added value and support of our community. And we're very honored to have our Indio Police Department. At the same time, we do need to do a better job of bringing in businesses and bringing in multiple housing. We are looking at new apartment complexes, single family homes, and the things that we are doing is continuing to support our residents by listening to what they say, listening to what their guidance is, not only for businesses, but opportunities, and bringing in educational opportunities that allow them to not only get the education, but also start their businesses or their new life by continuing to have the support of not only the city, but also our community as a whole. So can the city of Indio do better? Absolutely. But I think we've done a lot to continue to support over the last 12 years that I've been on the council to make sure that we're providing opportunities for all our residents. And we have a great police force, a great staff, and a great city that's very diverse and is the largest and oldest city in the Coachella Valley. We are leading the charge on what it takes to make sure that our residents get everything they need for the quality of life that they expect. And so I want to thank my staff, and I want to thank our police department and our community for continuing to give us the support and guidance we need.
Thank you. Candidate Nazario.
Awesome. Well, my background is in social economic issues. And so, these social issues that we currently have advocated in the city of Indio are very dear to my heart. I'm a person that's about creating spaces where every entity is heard. And I've done that through vigils, through actions that included police department to be a supportive aid in our social issues. And so I'm very thankful that at some capacity, the city of Indio has been supportive. But in terms of how we move forward with these issues. We are the biggest city with the biggest population, as being said. So we don't really have to reinvent the wheel. We just have to look at other large cities, such as the Riverside City. And you will see that these cities actually have office departments dedicated to homelessness, to access to primary health, access to even housing and nutrition. I've been an advocate that supports social economic issues, and women's issues, LGBTQ issues, race issues, policing issue, homelessness issues. So in order to support these issues, we really have to talk about preventatives measures. Prevent homelessness with affordable housing, prevent drug addiction with mental health services and counseling, prevent policing issues by having high standards of good leadership, prevent racism by providing ethnic studies and cultural educations, events and ceremonies. Right? These are issues that are very near and dear to our hearts and to our residents. I've personally been speaking on city council to support issues on specifically in making racism a health crisis. Our residents in District 5, I personally felt that we weren't heard, and that's why we're speaking. These social issues aren't about partisan sides. These social issues are about a commonality that bring good faith to humanitarian future. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Candidate Ruiz.
Thank you. Many federal and state governments are facing unique challenges, especially in times of social and systemic changes. However, our number one priority is Indio. We need to learn and be mindful whether those challenges may or may not affect our community, or whether we need to improve or add policies. It will be responsible to force initiatives and policies to the city of Indio without a proper analysis and consideration of the culture and the socioeconomic statuses. Currently, one of the issues Indio is addressing is homelessness in a way that it has been recognized nationally due to the collaboration of public and private agencies in our city, with a very strong role of the Indio Police Department. But can we improve it? Absolutely. This is not an issue that pertains to Indio alone. We must include regional governments, faith-based groups, nonprofits, every group that operates in the community of Indio. And most recently, housing has begun to be addressed by our city and staff and our local nonprofits. We need to continue finding the ways that we can provide housing opportunities, especially to the less privileged sectors of the community, and particularly the younger generations. This is very imperative. California is facing a huge housing issue, and Indio is not the exception to the rule. So we have to be proactive, how to find the best solutions so we can continue providing opportunities, especially for those sectors.
Thank you. And candidate Turan.
So the best way to combat the social justice issues we face in the community is through policy and action that improves the lives of our residents. It's important for everyone to insert themselves in these conversations and for us to really listen to all voices. When we're talking about social justice, it's not just Black and brown. This includes women, this includes our senior community. With some of the newest representatives on the council over the last few years, we've seen some improvements for a bigger push to advocate for supporting social issues. However, we still have to do more. We've heard in council meetings that these problems do not exist. Now is the time to move forward by acknowledging the issues we are facing and realize we all have a part in this. If you talk to our diverse residents in the community like I have, you will see we've had our issues in the past. This year, I worked on forming a group called We Are Indio in order to create a platform to have these difficult conversations. It gave me the opportunity to speak with many longstanding residents about issues they've experienced themselves, and it also gave me the opportunity to work with our Chief Washburn. He's very committed to creating stronger bonds in the community. As a nurse, I respect our public safety officers, but I also understand the issues faced by our community. In regards to homelessness at the city level, we can continue working with outside agencies to advocate for additional funding for shelters, provide affordable housing solutions, promote care and resources for mental health, such as increased funding for more patient beds, outpatient resources, transportation to have more successful outcomes. The current system sets people up for failure. We can prevent homelessness by addressing the root cause of the issue.
Thank you. And we'll move on to Council Member Ramos Amit.
Well, I agree with my fellow candidates. The City of Indio can always do better. But as a community, I feel that the City of Indio has done fairly well in supporting equitable needs of our residents. You can see that through our regional efforts of CVAG. You know, what most people don't realize is that the Coachella Valley together in its totality is still only about 350,000 residents. Compared to other large cities in the Inland Empire, we're still a very small sector, and we need to do things regionally in order to make a great impact. 15 years ago, I was the founding chairperson for the Homelessness Committee at CVAG in order to bring all the nonprofits in all the cities to the table. Today, we've been able to multiply the funding for the homeless efforts from $1 million to $2 million. And because of our efforts through our quality of life team at the police department, we've been able to secure over $7 million by partnering with the nonprofit homelessness communities. But it's just not about homelessness. It's also about diversity in housing. And how do we accomplish that? By making sure we stay in touch with the representatives of housing, like the California Department of Realtors, the Commercial Development for Realtors, the California Apartment Association, the Building Industry Association. If you ask them all, how does Indio fare when it comes to equitable housing? They rate us very highly. So I believe the City of Indio is being very responsive to the community to make sure that we have community policing that addresses homelessness and safety, affordable housing, and the social justice issues that our city residents face.
Thank you, Council Member. And we will now move on to the next question. Recently, the Indio City Manager announced his upcoming retirement. Perhaps one of the most crucial decisions looming for the City Council will be hiring a new City Manager. What are the most important considerations when selecting a candidate to fill this position? And we'll start with Council Member Lupe Ramos Amit.
Well, thank you. Number one, the most important quality that we'll be looking for in our city manager is that he is a part of this community, that he lives in this community, that he interacts with our residents, its diversity, and takes part in all of the community events. That is really what we've required of every city manager that has come to interview with us before. Secondly, it's somebody who has a strong background in relationship building, not only with the residents, but with potential businesses and other individuals who are looking to come to Indio to grow the city and to make it better. We have an excellent relationship with Golden Voice and the festivals, and we hope that will continue to grow as with the Riverside County Fair and National Date Festival and Mr. Hagan at the Empire Polo Clubs. These relationships have been the key to our success, and I believe that a good city manager will be out there in the community listening to everyone, not only the residents, the businesses, but anyone who's looking to invest in our community. Of course, he will be financially and fiscally sound, and he will be a leader that will show our excellent staff how to move this city forward and to make sure that our general plan 2040 becomes a reality and doesn't just stay on the shelf as a vision that was never achieved.
Thank you. We'll move to Mayor Miller.
Thank you. Losing Mr. Scott was a kind of a devastating blow to us. We need to clone him, to be honest with you. He's great, but we need a quality leader. What we're looking for is somebody that can hit the ground running, get active in our community, make sure they're listening to not only our staff, but our residents. We want him out there or her out there, making sure that not only are the voices of our residents heard, but our voices of our businesses and people coming in. Our excellent relationship with Golden Voice makes us very unique in terms of bringing in international exposure. And we want the person there to make sure that whoever they work with, they feel that they have the support of not only the city, but the city manager. The last few city managers we've had that opportunity to make sure that not only did they live in the city, but they prospered with the city and they had a vested interest in it. So we're looking for somebody to work with our staff, work with our community, build our economic base, and at the same time continue to make sure we have strong financial commitments, not only to our residents through programs and making sure that we have a fiscally sound budget, but we're building our reserves for the future, because Indio's going places and we need the next city manager to make sure that he realizes or she realizes exactly where we're going, and that's up. So financial responsibility, business development, community development, and being a part of our city. And with that combination, we can make sure that the city of Indio moves up for the next 15 years.
Thank you. Next, candidate Nadaril.
Well, I would like to first start out to thank Mr. Mark Scott for his dedication to serve the city of Indio. I've actually, as a regional leader, known Mark Scott since his transitioning and work in the city of San Bernardino. When I think about access to government, I think about a particular story when we were advocating for sanctuary policy, and there was, this disagreements in the city council. I reached out to Mark Scott, and Mark Scott actually reached back out, and I thank him for that. We had several conversations around the issue of how we can be, as leaders, better representative of the city, and so he actually invited also Mr. Mike Washburn and Mr. Ben Mitron and Officer Tully. And so I'm really grateful of these, moments and where I can really reflect that Mr. Mark Scott actually represented to give access to government. And so moving forward, I would actually consider that we have a diverse city manager. And actually, I think it'll be a she who actually could be representative of the demographic of Indio. A steady hand, strong financial credentials, right? It's something that we need in the city. We need someone who is good at engaging our community, someone with good financial innovating skills, planning skills, and someone who's available to make the city of Indio better. And it's not just about relationships that we harbor. It's about being involved in everyday issues. It's involved in having the visibility and being a representative in our community, having a, shall we say, social media presence to highlighting what the deal of the day is, or what is it that brings a uniqueness to Indio. We're in a new generation, and so we have to think about a generational leader that is all-inclusive to the diversity of the city of Indio. And so when selecting a candidate for city manager, there's something that I would look forward to be representative. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll move to candidate Ruiz.
Thank you. Recently, I had the opportunity to have a long conversation with Manager Scott, and the city will highly miss him. But to move the city forward, the city needs to hire a new manager. We need to hire a candidate that has a strong background in economic development, a good community and business relations, strong leadership skills, someone that is able to lead a team environment, and someone who is fiscally responsible, someone who is willing to make a long-lasting difference for the diverse community of Indio. We have to elect we have to hire someone who understands the culture of this community, but someone who is savvy enough to take the city of Indio to the next level socially and economically.
Thank you. And we will move to candidate Turan.
So finding someone who understands the diverse needs of the city of Indio and the population with the city is crucial. Mark's done an excellent job. His shoes are going to be hard to fill. However, we have an excellent city staff, and the way they function will make a transition much easier, as well as Mark's willingness to stay involved as a volunteer in whatever capacity he's needed. This will be an important time to find someone with proven experience, an excellent track record with successful outcomes when it comes to smart planning and development in order to really bring some of these upcoming plans for the city to life. Moving forward after COVID, we will need someone who is experienced, yet energized, innovative, to garner the decisions that will shape our city as we move forward and recover. Someone who can maintain relationships in the community and also with the business and development community in order to have some continuity.
Thank you. Our next question. Indio has a very large youth population that continues to be an important part of our community service needs. This places special demands on city planning, from youth centers to sports fields. How is Indio doing when it comes to supporting its youth? Are there additional actions or projects you would like to see? Candidate Turan?
So this past Saturday, we were out at the site for the proposed sports park in Indio. There were people from Palm Springs to Indio that were there. We had representatives from the Desert Recreation District and also from the developer. We had one city council member out there that represented the city. We need more representation. We need better relationships to garner trust from our community. Indio has not always done the greatest when it comes to parks, but that's on the forefront, and we can find ways to further utilize or expand our youth advisory committee to help us meet the needs of our youth. In my district, District 1, we have a very diverse group of people with various age groups, cultures, and walkability. The Nairobi area has grown and has a lot of youth, and Burr Park is a perfect example of how we can expand and find ways to offer some different amenities. We can continue to work on strengthening our relationships with our partners, whether it is with the Recreation District, the Boys and Girls Club, or the YMCA, which is what we're doing now, but we can further promote youth empowerment within our communities. I look forward to participate and continuing with these efforts.
Thank you. And Councilmember Ramos Amit.
Thank you. 15 years ago, the city of Indio engaged the community in developing a youth master plan, which was the premise for purchasing the 60 acres that we purchased for this sports complex about 15 years ago, and also the premise for building the Indio Teen Center. The youth master plan has many aspects to it, and we haven't fully achieved all of them, mostly due because of lack of funding. But now that we've been able to secure a potential developer to help us with the sports complex in central Indio, we believe that we'll be able to bring the partners to the table, all of the sports league, the Parks and Recreation District, and the YMCA, to be part of a larger scheme there that will make it attractive not only to our residents, but also to regional sports teams so that the youth will have something to do. I wish we had more funding, and I wish we could do these things as quickly as we think about them. But what's important is to do the planning. We've done the planning, we've had the listening sessions. They started over 15 years ago. At this point, we continue to listen to the community and to ask them, is this really a priority for you? Because the city of Indio is under the age of 18 by 25%. And we believe we need to have these amenities for our youth in order for them to have a brighter future.
Thank you. Mayor Miller.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a very dynamic subject for all of us. Our youth are our future, and the city of Indio has invested heavily into opportunities in recent years to make sure that we upgrade our parks, that we continue to have opportunities by working with regional opportunities for nonprofits, including the YMCA, Desert Recreation District, the Boys and Girls Club, to come up with programs and solutions along with our teen center to make sure that our youth who are coming into their own have the opportunities not only to be outside physically and doing stuff through soccer leagues and other leagues, but also mentally by getting inside the teen center and building programs that can start them on their way from educational opportunities to also at the same time making sure that they can start business and go to school. So education, there's a lot of factors that are going on in this, but at the same time, our parks are our big plan coming up over the next few years. Our new sports soccer park, we're in a development agreement with them now. We had our first listening session this weekend. We had quite a few people from all over look at what Indio's doing to not only help us, guide us through what we're looking at doing with that park, but also getting input from all our residents. So we can do a little bit better job, I think, of continuing to support our residents by building bigger parks and dog parks and opportunities. And at the same time, working with our youth to ask them through our Youth Advisory Council what they think we need to do besides the sports park to back them in anything they want to do for educational and recreational opportunities. So the City of Indio is doing our general plan, and inside of it was our park program for the next 10 to 15 years, which if I would invite anybody to have a look at.
Thank you. And candidate Nadaril.
It is the year for young voices to be heard. It is the year for our young voices to be inspired and our younger generations to reflect on a future that is representative of them and different generations. It's one of the reasons why I ran, to inspire youth to uplift their voice, to be one of the younger candidates here in the city of Indio. Our youth are proving to be strong, right? Strong, innovative leaders in our community. We need to make sure that they have room to grow here in Indio. We are making this possible with our new teen center, our Kennedy Elementary School, and the high school, and of course, the CAD expansion. However, we could still improve on parks. I was also at the park meeting that happened this last Saturday, and I actually invited a youth to participate into this meeting so that their voices can be heard. One of the concerns that we felt that we needed an agency that we needed to have with it was Sunland Transit. We need to think about transportation. Our youth often are limited to exploring the city because transportation doesn't always flow. Specifically in my district on Avenue 48, does not go further up high. And so we also need to think about how we're going to keep youth here. The housing market is obviously not designated for younger generations. We need to think about innovative housing solutions that are going to keep youth-minded generations to spend money here, to live here, to be able to access to affordable housing. And that means thinking about innovative housing solutions for diverse people of income. So it's not enough for our youth to just enjoy the park. We have to be also part of the development of here in Indio.
Thank you. And candidate Ruiz.
I really feel that Indio needs to improve in this area. Indio is a young community, and that is the reason why I raised my family here in the city of Indio. We need to work with residents, our faith-based communities, our schools, our nonprofits, and most important, with our youth. We must develop initiatives regarding urban greening in open areas that will promote family atmospheres. The youth is the present and the future of this community. So we must learn how to protect the quality of life at the federal and local levels. Indio has done well in working with school districts and nonprofits providing services today than it did 20 years ago. But we need to update our youth specific plans, get inputs from our families, but specifically from the youth. As our city continues to grow, we need to assess the programs that are working and the ones that are not. We must evaluate our sports programs, parks, and open spaces. We need to prioritize our budget to serve the youth needs and to expand or build on the combined partnerships with school districts, desert recs, boys and girls clubs, youth groups, organizations, nonprofit-based youth, and definitely our faith youth communities. I have led youth initiatives, youth internships, outdoor initiatives, and leader pipelines programs For people that know me, I have spent a lot of my years working with youth. I know a thing or two about them. And we must be intentional to provide programs that will meet the needs of our growing population. In my conversation with our ex-City City Manager, Mark Scott, we discussed how to engage nonprofits to develop family-oriented programs for our youth and families. Currently, we do not have those green and open areas or even decent parks here in the city of Indio. When I want to take my kids to the park, we either go to Coachella or La Quinta, and honestly, it doesn't need to be that way. Our kids and youth deserve better.
Thank you. And the final question of the night. The biggest opportunity and challenge the City of Indio Council will face over the next 5 years is candidate Ruiz.
The challenges that I foresee for the next 5 years are business developments, housing, city services, keeping up with the growth of the city and health services. This is one of the reasons that one of my initiatives is to promote the health of the residents of this community, because health will become a big issue, not only for the city of Indio, but overall here in California. Our demographics continue to change, and we must learn how to diversify our businesses and our plans and our initiatives. Indio is the second seat of the county. Sometimes we do not reflect that. Nonetheless, I think we gotta plan proactively how to face these challenges in the upcoming years.
Thank you. And candidate Turan.
So I think the biggest opportunity and the biggest challenge are one of the same. There are a lot of things happening at this time in our country with this pandemic and the divisiveness we've all experienced. We have so much to overcome, but the most important thing is to come together as a community. That's what makes us Indio. It's been a very divisive time, and we're from the same community. We have many of the same wants and desires and needs. Although we're all different, we're very similar. We're more similar. We want the same things for our families. We want our families to be safe. We want good jobs. We want our children to return to school. We want our businesses to survive. The best thing that we can do is overcome the issues that we're facing in our community over the next 5 years to unify and find ways to work together to continue to improve Indio. After all, we are Indio. And I do care for Indio. If you'd like to hear more about my campaign and the things that do matter to me and what I would like to see us do in the upcoming years, you can find me online at www.voteerin.com. I want to thank you so much for your time, and I hope that we can count on your support in this upcoming election.
Thank you. And we will move to Councilmember Ramos Amit.
One of the greatest opportunities for the city of Indio being the downtown core is being developed. When our residents and the business community see the grandeur of the downtown development, not only the acreage that the city of Indio owns, but also what Loma Linda University Hospital is doing with their capital campaign, what College of the Desert is doing to expand to be able to serve 10,000 students. Certainly the John J. Benoit Detention Center will bring a lot of new jobs to the area, as does the Larson Justice Center. We have housing coming into the downtown. I believe that once all of these pieces are put into place, the downtown core will just attract so many individuals from throughout the region and offer many, many services to our youth, our seniors, and our residents in the way of services and in the way of jobs, in the way of the economy for the businesses. As far as challenges over the next 5 years, I had the good fortune to be on the City Council during the 2008 recession. I also worked for the California State Legislature and saw how difficult it was for businesses during that time. It took us a long time to recover. So I think that although this pandemic, in the next year, we will see a vaccine and be able to start getting back to normal, through the Small Business Development Center as a consultant, I've seen many, many businesses close that will never reopen. And that's the sad part of having this global pandemic. And I believe it's going to take us another 5 years before we can rebuild all those businesses. But the light at the end of the tunnel is that people believe in Indio and they will invest in Indio and they will establish their businesses in Indio once again. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mayor Miller.
Thank you. We have great opportunities, and that's the great thing about Indio. Not only our diverse culture, but also our sheer size. We are the largest city by far and the oldest city in the Coachella Valley, which gives us dynamics and power in terms of not only supporting our concerts, which are coming in and bring international flavor to our city, but it also gives us the opportunity to look at all the new businesses that are coming in. They're coming into the city of Indio because of good, steady leadership, and also the economics of opportunity for them. When you see the Vallarta supermarket, the new hotels, we have colleges of the desert investing, it's because the city of Indio is prime and they see the opportunities here. So capturing what we have already from our international concerts to the new businesses coming in, and being able to capture new people coming in that maybe want to start their own home business and professionals of skilled high labor. And at the same time, making sure we're balancing what we need to do by making sure we have a fiscally sound budget. That's going to be our biggest challenge, is to continue rise from businesses that are fighting the COVID-19 issues to making sure that our budget is balanced by bringing in the tax dollars that we need and new jobs that we need. So continuing to make sure that we have a healthy reserve, making sure that we continue to have a structured budget will then allow us to provide the services from public safety to roads to parks to continue to have the quality of life that our residents expect. So when you look at opportunities, concerts, economic development, when you look at challenges, it's state money coming in that we need to have, tax dollars that we need to come in to make sure we have a balanced budget and a good reserve. I look forward to working for you for the next 4 years. It's been my honor as being your mayor this year and also being on the council for 12 years and on the planning commission for 6. If you need to see any more of my platform or want to talk to me personally, get on my website at Glenn Miller, the number 4, Indio.com, and you can get my phone number, give me a call, and I'm more than happy to come down and tell you about what is going on and look at what's happening in the beautiful city of Indio.
Thank you. And candidate Nadaril.
Thank you. Well, the biggest opportunity coming up here over the next 5 years is we are the largest workforce in the Valley. Let's provide work opportunities that benefit our families, our local economy, our city, and our environment. But before we provide work, we have to think about how we're going to provide work safety modifications that will attract business and sustain the current business here. The biggest challenge that I see also moving forward is housing prices and displacement of our working class families. We need to grow responsibly and make sure that we are taking care of our seniors, our young adults, and our families who have helped build Indio for what it is today. But the biggest challenge that we are moving in forward will be health. Health in the sense of climate change and health to battle this pandemic. We need adaptations and innovative ideas that will address these issues moving forward. Not just for the city of Indio, but we need to create a movement that will impact the Coachella Valley and Southern California and the state of California. We are dedicated residents to our city, right? We shop here, we live here, we give ideas here, but it's not going to be enough because the most important platform is how we're going to convey these ideas together. So one of the biggest challenges for you, the folks at home, will be to stay connected. Please reach out to us. I'm available. I respond to texts. I respond to emails. I'm here to listen and to grow with the city. I've already mentioned my platform, but I'm definitely available to keep on hearing, to keep on listening, and to make action in 2020. Thank you for inviting me. Have a great evening.
Thank you all for your comments and willingness to spend some time with us tonight to share your positions. A reminder that tonight's event will be available for replay at nbcpalmsprings.com as soon as it is posted. Once again, thank you to our candidates and audience, and a reminder from the Indio Chamber of Commerce to everyone, please vote. Good night.
Good night.